Hello, welcome to the IUN Community Garden Session, Fun with Garden Clubs. The presenter for today's session is Reggie Korthals. Reggie earned a Master's of Public Administration and Environmental Law and Policy from the School of Public and Environmental Affairs at Indiana University, as well as undergraduate degrees from Purdue University and Kent State University. Reggie retired from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, Office of Water Quality after 10 plus years as the coordinator for Indiana's Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, NPDES permit program. She is currently an adjunct professor in SPIA at Indiana University Northwest, an environmental resource project manager in the Stormwater Division at Butler, Fairman, and Seifert Civil Engineering in Indiana. Reggie is also the Northwest Indiana District Director of the Indiana Garden Club and member of the Vale of Paradise Garden Club in Valparaiso. Welcome, Reggie. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. One of the interesting things about Garden Club is that it not only helps you learn, but it helps people in your community learn. And the mission of the Garden Club of Indiana is to promote interest in education in not only gardening, but horticulture, landscaping, floral design, and environmental concerns. So it's an exciting opportunity. My mom started in the Garden Club of Cleveland when we were in Ohio, and when they moved back to Indiana, she continued with the Garden Club of Indiana, where she served in a number of positions and was actually a 50-year member of the Garden Club. So once I quit teaching high school and retired from IDEM, I started having time on my hands. So I started doing more work with the Garden Club. Being the district director is a great opportunity to get to know everybody in Northwest Indiana, in Lake and Porter counties. The goal of bringing everyone together has been a challenge the last couple of years. We're trying to get new people to join local clubs. Conducting meetings via Zoom for 2 years was really something, teaching people how to use Zoom. But we're still at almost 1,400 members of the Garden Club of Indiana, with 54 clubs. They divide the state into 7 districts. We're also a member of the National Garden Club Council. And this is basically clubs from every single state in the United States, 8,000 clubs and over 225,000 members. And it's awesome the things that we are able to share. Okay. When you get a chance, and we go back at the end, make sure you copy down the website for the Garden Club of Indiana, because there's a lot of great information there. One of the fun things to watch is last year was the 90th year celebration of the Garden Club of Indiana. Was founded on the year before, actually, 2020, April the 5th in 1930. And so they made a YouTube video. So if you're into YouTube videos, you could click on that site and watch the celebration from there. There are 7 districts, 54 clubs, almost 1,400 members in Indiana. This happens to be a picture of the Crown Point Garden Club as they work on a community garden in the city. They do a lot of community work, the Crown Point group does. They do the gardens around the courthouse downtown. And they also do a rain garden out at the fairgrounds. So the clubs actually contribute a great deal to giving back to the community. The big picture is this: we are part of the National Garden Club Council. And what this means is that we are able to take advantage of all of the educational materials and the information that they share nationwide, and they're able to share it with us locally. This gives you an idea of kind of how the state is divided. Northwest District, North Central, Central West, Central, Central East, Southwest, Southeast. We are the Northwest District. Lake, Porter, Newton, Jasper are the counties. White and Tippecanoe County. We lost the clubs in White and Tippecanoe County over the past few years, and it would be great to try to get them back in again. Right now, our clubs are really divided between Lake and Porter County, and I've listed them there for you. The Crown Point Garden Club, the Dyer Garden Club, Duneland Garden Club, which is Chesterton and the surrounding areas, the Hobart Garden Club, Lowell Garden Club, Munster Garden Club, and the Vale of Paradise, which is Valparaiso. And each one of these clubs are extremely active in their community, not only with horticulture, but they also do scholarships and give back to the community. Here's an example of what we do. We have programs and projects, and then we have awards and scholarships. And we're able to do all these things because the members pay dues to their local club, and then the money is divided between the club, the district, and the state. One of my most committed activities and programs is the Blue Star Memorial. Let's go to that. The Blue Star and the Gold Star Memorials are basically garden clubs honoring those who have served our country. The Blue Star Memorial Program honors both men and women that have served in the United States Armed Services. This program began with the planting of 8,000 dogwood trees in New Jersey, and this just grew. This was after World War II. And then the National Council of Garden Clubs began the Blue Star Highway Marker System. You will see those in your community. They're out in different locations. They have to be on a major highway, or if it's a byway marker, on a byway. And the clubs pay for these. They have them installed. They have special recognition on Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Armed Services Day. The Blue Star markers are placed wherever the community wants to have them, actually, as long as it's approved by INDOT. Today, the program includes men and women not only that have served, but were serving or would serve in the armed services in the United States. So memorial markers and byway markers can be, there's a couple that are on I-65 at the rest stops heading to Indianapolis. Every one of those garden club communities have one. They're at parks and various gardens. It's basically Blue Star has become a real focus for the district. I am the mother of a special forces soldier, so it's important to me. The Blue Star Memorials in the Northwest District, here they are. The Hobart Garden Club does an enormous job with this. This one is sitting out in front of their library, I believe, yeah. And they have another one that's in front of their community building. They have two. Dyer has one. Vale Paradise Garden Club has it right downtown on the square in Valpo. Crown Point has theirs downtown. Munsters has theirs in a special pathway area. Turkey Creek Garden Club and Portage Garden Club, unfortunately, no longer exist. They had to end their association because the members just didn't want to work anymore, and some of them passed away. But their memorial markers are still there. And yes, you can get involved with this project, and you can help in any way you can, as far as it's raising money or finding a location, talking to your local garden club, seeing how you could help them get a Blue Star marker up. Another project we do is called Civic, the annual Civic Development Fund. This is another one of my favorites, where the clubs, individual clubs around the state make contributions to the annual Civic Fund. And then that money becomes available to the district at the state convention. Every year, the Garden Club of Indiana holds a state convention. And that map I showed you has the different districts, and the state convention rotates around the state. And every 7 years, we get to host it. And then the second meeting, which you certainly can take advantage of, is coming up this September. And it is called the Wildflower Workshop. And I am going to, the Northwest District is going to host it. And I have put the focus on the dunes. And we're going to recognize Diana of the Dunes. We're going to take Garden Club members from around the state to the new national park, looking at the wildflowers in the dunes and having all of the key state park and DNR and the National Lakeshore people talk to the women about the different issues in the dunes. And I get excited about this because, believe it or not, there are people in this state that don't know we live on the lake. And for the 10 years I worked in Indianapolis, it was amazing to me. So I love bringing the women from around the state up here so they can get an idea of what we do and what we support. And now that we have a national park, the garden clubs are really, really excited about that. Some of your clubs take on special community projects. The Vale Paradise Club in Valparaiso, we work with the county park and Sunset Hill Farm, and we do native plantings and native gardens and help with their restoration projects. So that's part of annual civic development. We work, obviously, I'm a water quality expert, so I work in areas that increase access to clean drinking water. And then we also, civic development, we work with Habitat for Humanity in providing funds and needed landscaping for the Habitat homes. Club fundraising. Clubs do a lot of things. This happens to be a picture of the Dyer Garden Club and their plant sale. Every club does a plant sale. And sometimes they do plants that they have taken from their yard that they're separating, or sometimes they're able, like here, they buy from a nursery and then they sell them to you. And they are absolutely wonderful plants, great shape, well cared for, greenhouse raised, but they have not been exposed to any in pesticides or things like that. So they're a good buy. And then they help the club raise money to do different civic projects. Another big program is always the state president's project, and the state president identifies what she wants to focus on for her 2-year term of service. And our state president this year has a real commitment to cancer awareness. So she has a program called Plant America in Colors of Hope for Cancer Awareness. And she comes around to the districts and the clubs and asks them to look at the many different ribbon colors that you see associated with different cancers, and then create gardens with those colors. So we've done that at Sunset Hill Farm. Munster is doing that in their park area, and it will honor the family members and club members or friends that have had to deal with cancer. This is another club project. This one is in Hobart. They do the flower plantings at one of the commercial or the municipal buildings. And it's their job then to take care of it. The town does, or the city doesn't have to do it. So they make sure the plants are well cared for and watered and replaced if needed. So community planning, the Vale Paradise does theirs at the Valparaiso Library, in addition to Sunset Hill Farm. Crown Point, they're planting gardens everywhere around the fairgrounds and then downtown too. Land Trust is another interesting project that's statewide. The Land Trust is one of the biggest funds that the state collects for, and contributions. As clubs make up their budgets, they identify how much they want to send to the Land Trust. And Land Trust is a protective endeavor. Okay, we partner with the Indiana chapter of the Nature Conservancy, and we look for projects to coordinate missions that the Conservancy District is reaching out to protect the examples here, the Indiana brown bat, the Kankakee Sands Preserve. They did a project to introduce bisons to the area in the Kankakee for the Bison Centennial in 2016. They also do a lot with the preservation of the Indiana forest down near Brown County, and then also with the dunes area up here and the different parts of the DNR's state park holdings up here. So Land Trust is ongoing. Now, education. Education is a key component of this. Obviously, it's important to me because of my teaching, but it also gives you an opportunity not only to do things and be part of the community activity, but to learn. Environmental schools, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to do a couple because I have a plan that I'm trying to work on with IU on the environmental schools. We have a flower show school. And what this does is a course to teach you how to become an accredited flower show judge. And a flower show is something that brings together not only design and different outdoor or indoor samples, but the flower shows also allow members to show off the horticulture they have in their yards. So they can bring in samples of plants and we show them how to do that, and then win awards of money and ribbons in flower shows. The district had done for years the flower show segment of the Lake County Fair and then the Porter County Fair. It kind of waned a bit during COVID. So that's something we're trying to get back up and going again. Gardening courses are things that we focus on, whatever a club may want. If you want to focus on a certain type of horticulture, annuals, or perennials, if you want to focus on native species, if you want to focus on invasive species. So we try to, whatever the clubs want. Plant identification is another one. Tree identification is really important. We have a course or a session that you could do or invite to be done at your club on Indiana trees, native trees in Indiana. So this is open to members, non-members. That's something to keep in mind, that garden club meetings are usually once a month, aside from their project activity, and they are always open. So if you live in an area where you want to attend a club or get to know a club, I can do that. If you live in an area that doesn't have a club, I would really like to see the development of some clubs in East Chicago, Hammond, Whiting, Gary, Lake Station, in the northern part of the counties, Maryville. I'd like to see a club back there again. So we're open if you want to try to do something, and you don't have to have a lot of members. You can start with 4 or 5, and it will certainly be fun and exciting, and you'll get all kinds of help. landscape design courses. This is a series of 4 10-hour courses, and this is usually over 2 days, 2 or 3 days. The course curriculum covers the history of landscaping, from landscape architecture to new design techniques. If you're following some of the things that are going on in your community now, you know that sustainable development is important, and providing or allowing new development in your community, or making sure through your ordinances that there is some type of green infrastructure that goes along with new houses and new businesses or whatever. So when you have the ability to help your community with different designs, landscape design opportunities, it allows you, you know, a job opportunity, but it also allows you to give back. Now I'm going to scoot back up to my favorite, the environmental schools. These environmental schools are held throughout the country, courses, there are 4 courses. The environmental studies is offered by a local or state club. And the problem I have always felt with environmental schools is that it takes too long to get your certificate. It was where you had to travel from one state to another. You take course 1, course 2, course 3, course 4, and then after 4 years, you got it. Well, that's too long for me. So what I want to do is work with IU and establish the environmental schools on the IU campuses, where we would offer them, all 4 of them, within 1 year. So when you finished, or within 6 months, when you finished, you would have your certification as a National Council environmental consultant in a reasonable amount of time. So maybe one course would be at IU Northwest, one course would be at IU South Bend, Kokomo, IUPUI in Indianapolis, so that you can get it done in a reasonable amount of time. And the reason I'm pushing that is because understanding environmental health and environmental science is important, not only to your community, but to the people that live here too. We need to make sure that our waters are protected, our air quality is good, our land use is not going to be abused. So you'll be seeing more of a National Council environmental schools coming up, and I'm hoping to work with Dr. Ellen Charlotte on this, and we can get that going. These are something that some of the clubs do called garden design. And we have another event I'm going to invite you to, is the summer walkabout. And I choose one garden club each year, and we go there and they design a walkabout with the people that have gardens in their club. So this year in July, we're going to the town of Munster, and we've got some really fabulous gardens we're going to walk through. These are examples of what one woman has done in her garden, and you will get to see some really creative things. And the surprising thing is that you may think, well, I really don't know how I can, I'm not that creative. But boy, when you see some of the things people use, you'll find them in your basement or your garage. And this is the fun part of the gardening. I will have Cure make sure that we can get the information for the July event to you, and also for the wildflower workshop in September. We'll make sure that's out there. Scholarships. This is another really important part of Garden Club. The Vale Paradise Garden Club in Valparaiso is #2 in the state for the amount of money they contribute to the scholarship fund, both statewide and nationally. They're offered through the Garden Club each year. The minimum amount is $1,000. We try to give out anywhere from 8 to 15 scholarships. They can go to any school in the state of Indiana. They seem to be focusing on Purdue, IU. I'm thinking Ball State gets some. I think Valparaiso has gotten some. So those are the local state scholarships. But then clubs also contribute to the National Scholarship Fund, where students can get up to $4,000 a year for their scholarship work that they're doing. There's different criteria, but it can be in environment, it can be in regional planning, it can be in horticulture, landscape design. There's a lot of flexibility. The only real qualification is Indiana students must be enrolled in an accredited college or university. We also in the Northwest District established our own scholarship fund where our clubs pay into that. And each year, we just started this during COVID. And so next year we will offer, this coming fall, a scholarship for a student that's going to school in Northwest Indiana, one of the secondary education. This is, we never forget the young people, because if you want people to develop practices for a lifetime, you have to start them when they're young. US EPA says when we take environmental education into the classroom, the best age group are fourth graders, because fourth graders tend to remember everything. They tend to take it home, and you can go back and test them in the 8th grade and they'll remember what they did. So we have the Smoky Bear Woodsy Owl poster contest. This is a partnership with the US Forest Service. It's K through 9. We've had a lot of winners, a lot of national winners from Northwest Indiana, because one of the key supporters of this is the Hobart Garden Club. They really, really go out there. There is a process where you can have a junior garden club in your area. It has to be supported by a standard garden club, and Hobart does that really well. There's a poetry contest. This year, the poetry theme is Sing with the Songbirds, Exploring the Glory of Nature. This is another contest that's been won by a number of K through 9 students in Northwest Indiana. And then the youth sculpture contest. We've had some clubs focus on recycling and using recycling material to make these sculptures, and then the communities put them. I know Munster put them in one of their gardens. Vale Paradise has some out, and it's great to show what people can do. The Duneland Garden Club focuses on the bird sanctuary. They also focus on the downtown Thomas Park area. So they're bringing all of the schools into the Duneland area to participate. This is another favorite of mine, basically because my son, not only is he a retired Special Forces soldier, he's a cyclist. And he rode a lot through high school and college, the little 500 in Bloomington, but he's also a cycling mechanic. And he now, in his spare time, whenever he has that, he is the mechanic for the US cycling team, and he goes to the Tour de France every year. So when I asked him about doing something with bicycles, he kind of wrinkled his nose because he can't see his racing bikes looking like this. So looking at bikes that you can find in scrap yards and people don't want anymore, they make great ornaments in your garden. Not really expensive. If you don't know where to find used bicycles, one of the places is to call your local school, because like Valparaiso University and Purdue, Cal, people leave bicycles there at the end of the year, and the university picks them up and then they sell them or give them away. So it's a good way to do that. Also, your local police departments or fire departments, they collect them and they hold them for a while. If nobody gets them, they try to give them away. But if you wanted to do something in your community like this, I think the bicycles are great fun. I see in the chat we have a question. So start pouring them on. I'm ready to answer whatever you want.
Okay, Reggie, one of the first questions that came out was one of the participants was interested in what classes you teach at IUN for the SPIA program.
I teach environmental science, environmental policy, environmental protection. A new one is going to be sustainability. I'm usually teaching at the 300 and 400 level and graduate school. And I am really fun to have.
Okay, the next question is, can people get involved with specific activities such as the Blue Star Memorials without being part of one of the clubs?
Yes, I think that's possible. We've had that discussion. It would have to be working with one of the local clubs, or if you want to help a club find a location for a Blue Star marker. Installing a Blue Star marker is not cheap. These are huge, specially made, bronzed memorials that come from one artist. And so I think it's up to $2,000–3,000 to have one put in. And if you have it mounted in a stone, it could be more money. But I would say either contact me or one of the clubs and let us know how you want to help. Certainly a possibility. I would like to try to get one at IU Northwest. I'm working on that. I would like to say to those that are on that if you're interested in the environmental school and becoming a National Garden Club environmental consultant, let me know that too, because that will help me get IU focused on this type of program. One of the reasons that club members and others around the country don't necessarily sign up for these schools is because they can't always complete them, because you may have class 1, which is 2.5 days in Cleveland, Ohio, and class 2 may be in Kansas City. I just think that's nuts. And so we need to get it so it is cost effective, it is close by. And so this will be for Indiana people in various locations. So it's not a huge problem to drive or to get to them. And it's easier to get it done within a year's time frame.
Okay, we have another question. It's a 3-parter on the chat. Who does the hanging flower baskets along Main Street in Hobart? Who takes care of them during the summer? And what do they do with the baskets at the end of the season?
Okay, I will. I'm not sure if that's the Hobart Garden Club or the Hobart Park Department, but I certainly could find out for you because Hobart's one of my clients too. So Hobart also did a behind City Hall. There is a water garden of native plants. If you've never seen that, you should walk behind City Hall and see that. I just have a strange feeling that this is the Hobart Park Department. Those hanging baskets would have a lot of maintenance, and I'm not sure the Hobart Garden Club could do all that. They do some of the stationary pots around City Hall, a couple of those, and then the ones by that community center. But if you want, just send me a note and I'll find out.
Reggie, does the garden club do any kind of seed swapping?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Say if you are not necessarily a member of the club, but you would be interested in just, you know, doing your research on different species and then getting access to seeds, maybe from natives or from perennials you may want to plant in your yard. How would that work?
we, the master gardeners in Lake County and Porter County would have huge special events every year. COVID kind of ended that for a few years. So now we're waiting to see if the master gardeners can start up again. But it's one of the things that we're going to do at the wildflower workshop in September. And we're going to have seed swapping and making sure that people understand what a native plant is and what an invasive plant is. And yeah, also you have a lot of garden club members that collect seeds. So if there's specific seeds you're looking for, let me know that, and I'll be able to provide that to you too. Yeah, think about coming for the Walkabout. And I think the Walkabout, my July Walkabout, this is something I started because we had these 6 clubs in Northwest Indiana that didn't always see each other, maybe once a year, twice a year. So it was a way to get to know people. So each summer we've taken a different club and we walk about their community and look at their gardens, and they kind of set it up ahead of time. So Munster is really good at doing this. They have some people there that have the most beautiful gardens. I don't know how in the world they have time to do it, but they do. So I'm thinking that is July the 14th or 15th, that Thursday or Friday. I want to say the 14th. You don't have to be a garden club member to go on the walk. And it's a good way to meet a lot of people that are involved in gardening. Hobart, Crown Point, Munster has, I think, the highest membership. They're almost at 50 women. And some of the other clubs, we think about how in the world do you get people to join? Well, to give up the time to do it. And they have a way of doing it. So it's a good learning experience for the rest of us too. How do walkabouts work? We pick a location. In this case, we're going to meet at the Munster Town Hall, and you either ride share. The Munster Garden Club will have a map and addresses of the 5 or 6 public or private gardens we're going to go to. And then we walk, drive there or walk or however they have it set up. And then we all eat lunch together in one place. Last year we ate over near the golf course where the landfill has been capped. And Munster built a beautiful garden there, tributary garden, and they had a sculpture done for that. So it's kind of a joint fun afternoon thing.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for being with us today. Reggie, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about the garden clubs here in the state and how the community members can get involved.
It's been exciting for me, and I appreciate it because you're not always able to get out there. And so take a look at the Garden Club of Indiana website. There's lots of great information on there from the clubs and the state itself, things that are going on, and feel free to reach out if you need to.